NBC 15's Cory Pippin was at tonight's showdown. Both candidates trying to sway voters, Cory.
Senator Luther Strange and Roy Moore addressed why they believe they're the right pick for voters come Election Day, but they couldn't resist taking shots at each other as well. The owner of Lotus Gun Works here told the FBI that there was a man inside asking for ammunition and body armor. He says they didn't realize it was Omar Mateen. The witness tells me he heard the children's cries for help and jumped into the water. That's when he said the victim did too and was swept under. In political news, the New York Times is reporting the Department of Justice has launched a criminal investigation into the Trump-Russia counterintelligence probe. The investigation eventually taken over by special counsel Robert Mueller. We've shown you the impacts of the wind all night. I don't think anything shows it better than this. Sand just whipping out here. Key Harbor residents and bystanders went door to door, making sure everyone knew there was a fire and they needed to get out. Ronald Vaughn says he never meant to hurt anyone. He just wanted the men off his property and away from his children, but they refused to leave. We like to think our mail is safe once we put it inside a post office drop box, but that isn't always the case. We've seen plenty of incredible video from yesterday's weather. This video comes to us from O'Neill Court in West Mobile. The problem lies here, where a multi-lane beach highway turns into a two-lane road, a dangerous situation. Locals continue to come here to the bridge underneath which Naomi's body was discovered days ago. Let's go now to meteorologist Jessica Prestwood. She has the Gulf Coast's most accurate forecast by weather rate. Jessica, what else can we expect from the storm system? This is absolutely tragic. Just take a look at what's left of the trailer here in the Resner Mobile Home Park off Highway 181 in Fairhope. Toll opponents say the federal bill does give them hope, but they'd rather the state have a plan right now to cut the cost on local motorists. Imagine showing up to church and finding this. The steeple, weighing several tons, fell more than 5 stories off the roof, slamming into the ground. For those who have loved ones supposedly buried in this cemetery, the thought they may not actually be here at all has left them shocked and disgusted. We're just across the street from 937 Bayshore Boulevard. Take a look. This is where the extensive scene has been throughout the day, with FBI agents and local police here. Wind gusts have gotten stronger and those rain bands continue to become more frequent. Take a look out here just over Mobile Bay. There's some ominous clouds and rain headed our direction right now. There could be as many as 5 different scenes, but the one behind me is where an armed suspect, according to authorities, was shot to death. They might have to find drugs or even take down a bad guy.
Hey, please stand up!
Can't get me. The water here in people's yards and driveways is still several inches deep. Still, this is nothing compared to how it was just this morning. South Alabama celebrating homecoming in Mobile today. The Jaguars hosted number 2 Appalachian State. It was the battle of the Tigers in Baton Rouge today. Number 2 LSU hosting number 9 Auburn. In the Big 12 now, Oklahoma and former Bama star Jalen Hurts take their undefeated record to Manhattan, Kansas. I'm ready for that cool weather. I don't know about you. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget, for the very latest overnight news, check us out on mynbc15.com. Moving to West Mobile, residents along Johnson Road are in recovery mode tonight after the first of yesterday's tornadoes ripped through their neighborhood. We spoke to homeowners now working to rebuild from that damage. Tonight, recovery is a work in progress along Johnson Road in West Mobile. One day after a tornado roared through this neighborhood, ripping large trees to shreds and scattering debris in its wake.
We got that warning that tornado was in the area. 60 seconds later, it hit.
Randy Smith, like many of his neighbors, rode out the storm, hiding in their homes until the tornado passed.
You can clearly see 2x4s going through the roof into the attic. Had a big hole on top that we were fortunate enough to have a roofer come out yesterday afternoon.
Many folks awoke this morning to survey the full extent of the damage for the first time.
It was like a bomb went off everywhere. I got shingles all over the place, just debris. It was unreal.
Neighbors and community members joined together to start picking up, while roofers jumped into action, covering huge holes in homes.
You have to be careful when you're dealing with the roofs. Water comes in, and microbial growth. You can have mold growth up to 48 hours.
But for some owners, that wasn't the most concerning damage to their houses.
We had some glass blowed out in the front. One of the bedrooms, the girls' bedroom got glass blowed out, so we still got that to clean up inside.
Despite the widespread damage, everyone is okay.
There's just complete devastation, but no loss of life, no real injuries to speak of, so we were very, very fortunate and blessed.
Mateen was very candid and emotional when speaking about his son. He says he does not forgive Omar, and had he known what his son had planned, he would have done something to stop him.
I'm very sad and mad and angry. Why did he do that?
It's a question Sadiq Mateen says he wishes he could ask his son one day after investigators say Omar Mateen died committing the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. Today, Sadiq Mateen says he's still in shock, remembering the son he describes as respectful, with his whole life ahead of him.
He had education, high school, college, work, good life, house. So he had no problem.
But others who knew Omar Mateen tell us that he could be violent and had severe mood swings. The shooter's father says he never saw that side of his son, and there were no red flags that Omar would go on to gun down dozens inside an Orlando nightclub.
If I didn't know that's a sign of something, I could have stopped him, and if I knew that he's going to do a bad act, I would have arrested him.
Mateen says he isn't aware of a connection between his son and ISIS, but he has a message to young people who might follow the group, which he describes as terrorists and killers.
They are the enemy of humanity and advancement, and don't let this terrorist group to take advantage of you. I don't forgive him what he did, even though it's tough for me to lose a son, because this affected a lot of people.
Despite posting anti-homosexual views on social media, Sadiq Mateen says he did not raise his son to hate or hurt anyone, and he has no place to judge them. His sincere condolences go out to the victims and their families. This is the intersection where Brittany Baxter was killed, and a few feet away is a memorial to honor her life. Her father tells me he's glad the teen responsible is off of the streets, but still isn't enough.
She was almost a straight A student with a couple of B's. She was just getting ready to graduate, go to college.
But now all Eric Baxter has left are memories of Brittany, reminders of his daughter's happiest moments, time with friends, playing softball, quiet times in her room, which is just as she left it. Brittany's life was taken away when 18-year-old Tristan Dino ran a stop sign at Tangerine Boulevard last April. Today, a judge ordered a 20-year suspension of Dino's driver's license because of his many prior traffic tickets, including an outstanding citation he had at the time of the crash for going 92 in a 50-mile-per-hour zone. But because it was a stop sign citation and not a criminal case, the judge couldn't sentence any jail time. Brittany's heartbroken father choked back tears as he asked the judge to give Dino a lifetime suspension.
That's just blatant disregard for the law. When it's ticket after ticket after ticket, you know, he didn't care.
Baxter says neither Dino nor his family ever apologized for the crash. He believes there should be stiffer penalties for repeat traffic offenders. The judge also ordered that Dino do 120 hours of community service. Tonight, the Robertsdale community is showing fallen hero Robert Sikora's family that his service and sacrifice for our country decades ago isn't and never will be forgotten.
He died a hero, and the honor he's getting now, it just all comes together.
Your honor, please.
For Glenn Sikora, placing this flag among the thousands outside Robertsdale High School, each honoring a Vietnam War casualty, is an emotional tribute to his oldest brother, Robert, who lost his life at only 26 years old.
It was actually my 14th birthday party when the service knocked on the door and told us what happened, so I'll never forget that day.
Lieutenant junior grade Sikora served years in the Navy. His plane was shot down near Japan in 1969. Today, Sikora's family, including his 99-year-old mother, gathered with his former RHS classmates from 1961, who organized a memorial and dedicated a plaque in the school to former students killed while on active duty.
It brought us closer
to the Secor family because we didn't know them in high school. The first name on that board is Robert J. Sikora.
Sicora's family says he was never officially honored by the military as a Vietnam War casualty because it was considered a separate incident.
And that flag, when I put it in the ground and looked out at all these other flags that Robertsdale put out, it was closure.
I'm told Robertsdale High School plans to continue adding names to the plaque and encourages anyone who knows of a former student who died while in active duty to notify them. Firefighters worked tirelessly for hours, battling the blaze to within feet of this tree line and evacuating folks in this RV park who saw the flames coming. As the roaring flames spread throughout part of the Gulf State Park, coming dangerously close to the luxury RV resort on Gulf Shores Parkway, some folks were urged to get out. Dwayne Bro says all he and his family could do was watch.
We couldn't have pulled our camper out if we wanted to. We just had to grab our stuff and just sort of save ourselves.
Bro and his wife rushed back from the beach when they saw smoke pouring into the sky, worried about their children back at the camper.
We couldn't get through the traffic, and we were really kind of panicking a little bit, so we got out and walked or jogged to get over here to check on them. You had trouble breathing. You kind of had to put stuff over your mouth to be able to breathe.
Fire crews from throughout South Baldwin County responded just before 2. For hours, they battled the blaze from Highway 135 inside the state park, along Highway 59, and outside the RV resort.
At the time, we had a really strong winds coming out of the east. The fire moved out into an area that was the top weeds were very dry, and it started pushing it very quickly towards Gulf Shores Parkway.
Firefighters were able to contain the flames once the wind died down and treat it as a controlled burn until it was out. While some businesses were also evacuated, no one was hurt and there was no damage, something Bro is thankful for.
It was a pretty swampy area, and they couldn't get equipment out there. So they kind of waited for the fire to get to them. And a little scary to kind of see that happen. But they quickly put it out, and then we was able to relax a little bit.
Now, Gulf Shores fire crews will be watching hotspots throughout the night. They're encouraging anyone who sees any flare-ups to contact them. The cause of the blaze is still under investigation, but I'm told Baldwin EMC is looking at a downed power line in the Waterville parking lot, trying to figure out if that had anything to do with the fire. Reporting live in Gulf Shores, I'm Cory Pippin, NBC 15 News.